Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So on today's video, I'm going to help you understand that should you invest in Modiji's stocks. So Modiji's stocks कौन से होते हैं? So for example, many people are thinking in the stock market that you know what, I'm going to buy like Adani stocks and वो भी बहुत massive run up हो रहा है उसमें, and if Modiji wins, then these stocks or these type of stocks are going to give very good run up. Same applies to PSU banks, about which PM Modi had already spoken about कि अच्छी rally आएगी and all that stuff. On top of that, there are defense stocks, infrastructure stocks. So, three questions I will try to answer. Number one, should you be buying these type of Modiji stocks or not? Number two, what is the risk that you are going to face in this? Are there better stocks to buy and a better method to buy? In the sense that, for example, if you are bullish on Adani GE, then should you directly buy Adani stocks or should you indirectly buy Adani stocks? So what is this? How you can do it? How you can minimize your risk? This is the precise piece of conversation I will have with you. Now, people who are new to my channel, my name is Akshat Shrivastava. I graduated from INSEAD. I worked at top management consulting companies in the world. Currently, I run my hedge fund. So managing money is something that I do on day-to-day basis now. I coach people on how to manage their own money through my educational initiative, which is my YouTube channel. So in case you are interested in learning how to actually manage money, how to actually make practical gains, I will give you very comprehensive fundamental information. My job is to give you information, and after that, how you act upon it is really a portfolio specific thing. Like if you follow my channel, if you subscribe to it, if you like this video, then the chances are that more of these type of videos will feature onto your feed. And if you watch these in-depth analysis, you will learn how to do financial analysis, and that is the goal with which I'm operating. So I will start this video with that spirit and let us get directly to the point. So number one, let us quickly talk about stocks like Adani, because many people would have clicked this video because of that. So now, is this like Modiji stock or not? This I will leave to your imagination. I have nothing to comment on that. See, if you check just May, the stock has gone up from 2,700 all the way to 3,400 in a very quick span of time. Okay. Now there are two ways in which a stock could grow, right? So the first is called as fundamental improvement. Now fundamental improvement का मतलब क्या होता है कि for example if the company has started to do really well or people expect the company to do really well कि for example revenues अपने बढ़ा ले, profits बढ़ा ले, it enters into new business and it is able to sustain competition. So that is called as fundamental growth. Okay. And second is called as sentimental growth. Now what is sentimental growth? Exactly what you are seeing on Adani stocks right now. And I don't know whether you learn anything out of that. But what I'm trying to tell you is that, see guys, please differentiate between sentimental rallies and fundamental rallies. As investors, our job is to pick fundamentally strong stocks. Now what is the meaning of fundamentally strong stocks? Ki number one part is कि देखो यार, business is likely to grow, they are actually doing something worthwhile, all that stuff, and you are getting the business at a decent enough price. अब इसका कोई exact point नहीं होता. For example, we cannot say that you know what, the correct value of Adani stock is 3,411. It could very well trade at 30-40% discount from its correct value, and it could very well trade at a 30-40% premium from its correct value. Now you'll say कि अच्छा यार ये तो फिर confusing कर दिया आपने, right? Now see, I cannot tell you everything in like one video. It will be very tough. It will become like a 100 hours video or something. I run courses, you guys can go and check it out. Everything is taught fundamentally. If you're in a job, you can definitely check out those courses. I structure it over the weekends. The completion rate of my course is more than 95%. People who, if 100 people sign up for my courses, 95% of those people end up completing the course entirely. लोग मजाक बनाते हैं कि यू नो व्हाट कोर्सेज का क्या मतलब है एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ. भाई कोर्सेज का कोई मतलब नहीं है. इफ यू बाय लाइक 100 कोर्सेज एंड यू डू नॉट कंप्लीट एनीथिंग, टेल मी द लास्ट टाइम यू कंप्लीटेड योर कोर्सेज. So anyways, coming to the point, the bottom line is that if you want to learn things in a structured manner, I have those type of courses, so you can definitely check out. I will plug some of those courses in description and comment box. Coming back to Adani stocks, the first thing that you need to quickly understand is that, hey, what is the expected return I could get and what is the amount of risk that I'm taking? At least इतनी तो analysis कर लो, right? So okay, so let us quickly understand the concept here. See, Adani Group is a very big company, right? Its market cap is huge. Its PE is close to 105 right now. Now, what is the reward that you think that will be there, right? So quickly check कर लेते हैं, right? I mean, for example, if rally comes, now what is the amount of gain that you could typically make, right? So आप ये बोल दोगे कि चलो यार ये अपने all time high पे चला जाएगा, right? Now, what is the all time high? All time high is close to 4,000. The stock is around 3,500. So ये तो हो गई all time high. So this is your reward that you are getting. That the stock will go from 3500 roughly to 4000. So आपका कितना हो गया 1/7. So this is like almost 14% gain is what you can expect realistically in the mid-term. Okay, so this is one. Now what is the level of risk that you're taking? For example, यार मोदी जी का re-election नहीं हुआ, या for example if he does not come with full-fledged majority, or if he changes political favors to Adani group and give it to some other group, what do you think is the risk in that scenario? The risk is fairly high. How much do you think the stock can fall? It can correct a lot. Just the PE can correct by like 30-40% easily. अब मैं ऐसा क्यों बोल रहा हूँ कि PE can correct by 30-40%? आप peers उठा के देख लो, right? You yourself will understand that at what PE level the companies typically trade. Now अब इसका कोई direct PE नहीं है because this is a conglomerate group. So let me pick one of the Adani Group's companies. So let's pick Adani Green. So आप यहाँ पे देखोगे the Adani Green PE is 241 and बाकी सारी कंपनियाँ भाई साहब it's like much less. So going back to the risk profile. So is there a very high chance of PE re-rating? Can PE fall by 30-40%? 100% yes. The PE of this stock can easily fall by 30-40%. अब ऐसा होगा नहीं होगा, I am not an antaryami. My job is to look at an investment and look at the risk reward in it and accordingly put my money behind it. Okay, so this is what I am doing. I have no axe to grind against Adani ji and Ambani ji and all that stuff. I am just giving you very honest commentary, whatever I am doing in the market. Okay, so this is the bottom line, that if you look at any Adani stocks, the PE is very inflated. Now a natural question comes कि अच्छा ठीक है चलो PE is inflated, but maybe in the future if certain politicians come to power, they will give more contracts, all that stuff. So ठीक है, उसकी भी थोड़ी सी fundamental analysis कर लेते हैं. Now it is almost impossible for us to guess which companies is going to get like green energy contracts, road building contracts, railway building contracts, or whatever it is. This is impossible to do. Okay, but what I will, or the argument that I will make is this, okay, ki see at their peak, so they got a business of 137,000 crore, okay, and right now they are close to that number. Okay, now if India is for example expanding from 2024, मान के चलो कि if India was spending let's say $100 trillion on its infrastructure, and इसमें से काफी सारे contract used to go to Adani ji, in 2025 the total spent on infrastructure goes to $200 trillion. So yes, यहाँ पे यार 2x हो गया, so the chances are क्या, so this number will go to 272 something. Okay, so this is like broad math that you can do. Okay, अब fundamental exactly मैं तो आपको बता नहीं सकता कि अदानी जी को कितने contracts मिलेंगे and all that stuff. So I'm doing this simple analysis for you. Now you think that hey, you analyze the data for 2021 to 2023, 2024, all that stuff, and try to approximate that how much money is the Indian government going to spend on its infrastructure. You might feel कि अच्छा यार बहुत ज़्यादा spending चल रही है on infrastructure and बहुत मस्त पैसा खर्च करा है in 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026 maybe same trend is going to continue. It doesn't work like that. Okay, higher, or rather staying constant is much higher. The chances of this rising at the same pace is very low. So please keep that in mind. This is a very important point because you might be buying these stocks with, I don't know, 3-4 year perspective. I'm not sure. And if you get into a stock with the perspective कि election rally में flip कर लेंगे and we'll make a 30-40% gain, भाई ठीक है, that's very good. And if it happens, congratulations, no doubt about that. But you always have to think about the down case. कि if a 20% correction happen on Adani G stock that you purchased like tomorrow or whatever, then what is going to happen to your portfolio? Can you exit that stock or not, right? If you have a trouble exiting that, then it becomes a problem. Okay, so this is the simple point that I will tell you. Now with that note, let me start talking a little bit more about other stocks. For example, PSU rally is again a critical point that the Modi government has spoken about quite aggressively. You see, we have cleaned up banks, we have done all these wonderful things, and banks have given, especially public sector banks, they have given very good rally. I myself have been a beneficiary of it. For example, Punjab National Bank, I have made more than 110-115% returns. A bunch of other stocks, Canara Bank, Bank of Baroda. I tell all this stuff on my member community. In case you guys are serious investors, definitely consider checking it out. Again, I will put the link in the description. On the election day, I'll be very active. I'll post throughout the entire day, whatever moves I'm making, and I will continue to give you fundamental commentary. It's impossible to make videos very quickly, but on member community, I can write very quick posts. So anyways, coming to the topic that अगर अपन public sector banks के बारे में बात कर लें, for example, let's pick State Bank of India. Now this is something that I still have in my portfolio, and I had started purchasing. I'm sitting on roughly I think 40% odd gain on this. I continue to hold it, and अगर आप अभी देखो State Bank of India you will see that hey, it is at like 11 PE. Okay, and अगर आप इसका historic PE check करो, right, so it is still trading below its peak or almost at its average PE. Now, is SBI an overvalued stock? According to me, no, right? Why? Because the numbers are excellent, right? And ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है कि उनको they got like exceptional favors from the government or something of that sort. It's profitable. Banks are actually cleaning up their business. It's almost impossible कि economy, the Indian economy will grow like this, but banks will stay like this. कि भाई HDFC Bank will also stay like this, and SBI will also stay like this. Nothing, right? I mean, it's impossible. There is a very, very strong correlation between the GDP of a country and its banks, right? It cannot happen कि GDP grows by like 10% a year, right? And our banks grow only by 9%. ये नहीं होगा, definitely होगा ये, because banking is a high beta industry. Beta means कि when GDP is growing, the banks grow faster, and if GDP is falling, then banks will correct more. Okay, so अगर economy में growth is 10%, then बैंकों की growth at least will be 12-13%. This is almost guaranteed. This is how macroeconomics works. Okay, so on that note, do I see another round of rally on certain public sector banks? The short answer is yes. Okay, right? So on that note, let me just quickly do a very quick computation here. कि देखो यार 11 का P is not very high to begin with. Bank of Baroda is also fine. Punjab National Bank looks a little bit bloated, so I had already sold it and I had rotated my capital on State Bank of India. Okay, and then you have like avoid buying something like Indian Overseas Bank, Union Bank, Canara Bank, and please note that this is not a recommendation. I'm just telling you honestly whatever I know. Okay, so but otherwise, I don't think that these banks are extremely overvalued as of now. Natural question comes कि यार what about private sector banks? For example, if I take a look at let's say HDFC या Kotak, you keep on speaking about it. आपका रिटर्न तो बना नहीं है इन तुम बैंकों में, right? आप हर दिन आगे HDFC की बातें करते हो. भाई see, sometimes what happens is that my goal is to build a portfolio. Now portfolio में ऐसा तो है नहीं कि only HDFC bank I have and rest of the banks I don't have. Yes, I had purchased HDFC. HDFC gave me 0% return, but at the same time, Punjab National Bank gave me 105 return. अगर आप इसकी averaging कर लो तो how much is my return? It's good enough, no? So therefore, portfolio construction is more important. I am not in horse betting game that okay, this ghoda will run. I can do my analysis. I can pick good businesses which make sense to buy, and accordingly, I can just split my money and put it in that. That is what my goal as an investor is. I am not in Jyotishi business. कि I can tell you अच्छा ये stock भागने वाला है and all that stuff. Okay, so very quickly. Talking about it, see guys, numbers have been great. There is no business problem. For example, if you take a look at, so Kotak Mahindra Bank के बारे में फटाफट बात कर लेते हैं, right? कि for example, if you look at the numbers, there is absolutely zero problem, right? The growth rate of the bank is very solid. Take a look at this, right? I mean, the bank is compounding at 23-24%. भाई इतना बड़े बैंक होने के बावजूद भी, so business is growing like crazy, right? Our economic growth rate is 7-8%. Kotak Bank is growing at 22%. Okay, so that's the bottom line there. Now, are these banks available at a good price? 100% yes. भाई कब की प्राइस में मिल रहा है आपको? 1800 रुपए पे है, एंड दिस प्राइस वाज व्हेन? दिस वाज प्री कोविड प्राइस दैट यू आर गेटिंग. ओके, देयर इज ऑलमोस्ट नो वे दैट दीज बैंक्स आर गोइंग टू कंटिन्यू टू ट्रेड साइडवेज और फॉल. बहुत शॉर्ट टर्म में हो सकता है, मिड टर्म में हो सकता है, बट इफ यू टेक अ 2-3 ईयर व्यू पॉइंट, ओके, दीज आर फंडामेंटली गुड बिजनेसेस टू इन्वेस्ट एज ऑफ नाउ. साइड नोट मैं यहाँ पे ये दूंगा, today you will hear me that hey, 2-3 year basis it is a good stock to buy. You will buy it tomorrow, and tomorrow it falls by 5%, then you will start cribbing a little bit. यार अक्षत ने गलत स्टॉक दिलवा दिया, this that. So this is not a recommendation to begin with. You yourself are not sticking to your theme कि I purchased this stock for 2-3 years. भाई आप 2-3 साल होल्ड करके तो देखो. There is a very very small probability that you will end up making a loss on this. So to cut the long story short, very quick summary of the video so far. That number one, I will not buy something like Adani stocks right now. Risk is high. Yes, return is also high. I don't know, but that is pure gambling. On the flip side, public sector banks are fine. I don't think that these are hyper overvalued. ठीक ठाक सा valuation है. If the entire bank, जैसे बैंक बीज अगर ऊपर जाता है, which is the bank index, then public sector banks will also go up and private sector banks will also go up. I feel that in the next 1 year, 2 year, private sector banks are going to do better in terms of the stock price growth compared to public sector banks. Now, अब आपने कैसा portfolio decide करना है, you guys design it accordingly. Okay. Now, let me quickly comment on infrastructure based stocks. नाउ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बेस्ड स्टॉक्स कौन से होते हैं? फॉर एग्जांपल L&T हो गया आपका, सो दैट इज एन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कि भाई वो ब्रिजेस एंड ये दुनिया भर की चीज़ें बनाता है. अदानी फॉर एग्जांपल इज इन द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सेक्टर. सो इसके थोड़े से बेसिक समझ लेते हैं कि यार हाउ डू इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर स्टॉक्स एक्चुअली मूव एंड व्हाट इज द प्राइमरी ट्रिगर पॉइंट फॉर दीज स्टॉक्स. सी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, इफ यू लुक एट द इकोनॉमिक्स बिहाइंड इट, बेसिकली देर आर 2 types of spending. One is called as private spending and second is called as public spending. Now public spending का मतलब क्या होता है? That government government will put like massive tax on you. They will collect moolah and rupees and so much stuff, right? And then they will eventually go and spend this money on a bunch of things, including infrastructure हो गया, freebies हो गई, right? And XYZ things, okay? So part of it goes to infrastructure. So if we have to do a prognosis or a forecast that, okay, what is going to happen on public sector spending, what would be your analysis? Very quick, 30-40 seconds here. See, number one, the debt on Indian economy is high, okay? Now this is not just an Indian economy based perspective. This has to do with the fact that the debt generally on world governments, be it US government, Europe government, all that stuff, उनके ऊपर बहुत debt to GDP ratio बहुत ज़्यादा है. Okay, so debt generally is high in the world. Elections are coming everywhere. For example, US में major elections हैं, बहुत सारी अलग Latin American countries elections are going on. India election season is in full swing. So during such times, भाई debt आपको बढ़ानी भी पड़े तो बढ़ा लो, okay? लेकिन but 1-2 years before elections, you have to spend on infrastructure. Why? Because you have to keep the stock market alive, economy alive. अगर government ने spending खत्म कर दी, right? If the government does not spend money, then it slows down our economy, because economy moves how? Spending money is like refueling the economy. The more people spend, be it private spending, जैसे यहाँ पे private spending अगर आप कर लो versus government कर ले, दोनों मिलके कर लें, अगर spending बढ़ रही है तो economy भी बढ़ेगी. Okay, so GDP की अगर आप definition समझो तो this will get featured in. So that is how expenditure based GDP calculations can be done. So I'm not trying to make this technical, but the summary point here is very simple. That see, if you feel that in the future, in the next 2-3 years, the government spending is going to increase even, right, at a faster pace. Overall मत देखना, उसमें percentage increase देखना, okay? The percentage increase of public spending is going to go up in the next 2 to 3 years. Then it makes a lot more sense to invest in infrastructure-based businesses like railways, defense, all that stuff. If you feel that public spending is not going to increase in the next 3-4 years, then it does not make sense to take so much risk, right? That's the bottom line. अब भाई कल को government का मन करा कि उन्होंने आपके बढ़ के टैक्स बढ़ाया, राइट, 70% कर दिया टैक्स और वट एवर, राइट, पैसे ही पैसा है उनके पास. नाउ दे कैन गो एंड स्पेंड लाइक क्रेजी अमाउंट ऑफ मनी. अपने दोस्तों बुला लेंगे, राइट, एंड आप एयरपोर्ट बनाओ, आप पोर्ट्स बनाओ, आप मॉल बनाओ, ऑल दैट स्टफ. सो ऑफकोर्स ऑल दैट स्टफ कैन हैपन. ओके, सो एनीवेज, कमिंग टू दिस टॉपिक, आई विल हेल्प यू जस्ट quickly present some numbers also, क्योंकि आप Google तो मारोगे नहीं. So okay, anyways, coming back, see, here are the numbers. Capex, which is mean capital expenditure. This is good infrastructure spend, so to say, ये roads, railways, all this stuff. So this was like capex as a percentage of total expenditure. आप देखो, right now we are at 19.01%, okay, and total expenditure भी काफ़ी अच्छे से बढ़ा है, right? There has been 14-15% growth, etc. So already the infrastructure spend has gone up massively in the economy. Now what is being touted, right? Number one thing that is going to happen from a macroeconomics basis is that the debt, governments are trying really hard to bring down the debt, okay? For this they have already increased taxes. अब भाई tax increase और debt में क्या relationship है? बहुत relationship है, because if the government is able to collect more and more money, they can offset the debt quickly, right? Because whatever money you are paying the government, they can use that to repay their debt. Okay, अब इसमें वीडियो चाहिए तो आप बता देना, I'll make like another video on that. But to cut the long story short, taxes बढ़ा दो तो you can bring down the debt situation. What is another way of reducing the debt? Well, it's very simple कि आप है ना public expenditure कम कर दो, right? Rather use that money in terms of offsetting your debt. So my prognosis is that going forward in the year 2024-2025, public spending is going to come down. I'm not saying that it will go to zero. All I'm saying is that it will stagnate, okay? And stagnation आ जाएगा, then again the infrastructure based businesses are going to exhibit slower growth. The second point that I will explain is the concept of multiplier effect. This is very nice, so you guys can pause here, read more about it. And यहाँ पे बताया क्या है, and I will just highlight 2-3 key points, right? So इसमें उन्होंने बोला क्या है, आप आराम से पढ़ लेना ये चीज़, right? What they have said is कि देखो boss, the government comes and it spends like whatever $1 trillion, okay, and they might do that spending in 2024. बट इसका जो मल्टीप्लायर इफेक्ट होता है, मल्टीप्लायर इफेक्ट इन वेरी सिंपल टर्म्स इज द बिजनेस इफेक्ट ऑफ दैट और द बेनिफिट्स दैट यू आर गोइंग टू गेट फ्रॉम स्पेंडिंग दिस $1 trillion. इट इज नॉट एज इफ दैट दिस विल हैपन टुमारो. दिस टेक्स अ साइकिल ऑफ 2 to 3 years, राइट? सो 2 से 3 साल बाद इसका फायदा आपको मिलता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, रोड बननी शुरू हुई, गवर्नमेंट वुड outsource the contract right now of $1 trillion, but that road will get built after or complete. इतना बड़ा project will take 2-3 years to complete. जैसे घर भी बनाते हो yes, you have booked the amount or booked the house today, आपने 20 लाख दे दिए, 30 लाख दे दिए and all that stuff, but the house you will get after 2-3 years, right? And then you will start enjoying the benefits of it. So something similar happens on capex कि government ने capital expenditure तो कर दिया यहाँ पे 2024 में, but in order to reap rewards of that capex it will take 2-3 years. अब हुआ क्या in the Indian economy that 2022 2023 were massive capital expenditure years for the Indian economy. अब वो सही डेटा है नहीं है, I don't know. I am no one to comment on the veracity of the data here. You guys do your own analysis. But let's assume that this data is correct. Okay. Now what is going to happen that in 2024, what type of companies are going to benefit? That's what you need to think. You don't need to think कि अच्छा यार, you know what, 2024 में भी चलती रहेगी trend, infrastructure बढ़ेगा, all that stuff. Yes, it might, but the chances of rapid growth rate on infrastructure spend is very low to begin with. Please keep that in mind. This is going to impact your portfolio a lot in the next few months. Okay, so I feel that there are better stocks that you can go and pick, which will benefit from this multiplier effect of capital expenditure that has happened in the economy already. Okay, now this is very interesting. So which stocks would this be, right? So for example, I would say FMCG, consumer durables. अब example से बताता हूँ. तो for example, FMCG companies depend a lot on transport, right? जैसे HUL ने shampoos manufacture करे, and they have to take those shampoo bottles from their factory somewhere in the middle of nowhere to different distribution centers, so to say. That might be the first chain in this entire process. So if the transport becomes faster for them, more effective for them, this will reflect in their operating profit margin. Okay, now if it reflects in their operating profit margin, what will happen? Good numbers will come. If good numbers will come, what will happen? The stock will become rocket. Okay, so this is not a recommendation that you buy HUL. I'm just simply saying that hey, FMCG companies are going to benefit. They were in a bad cycle. Consumer durables already have given a run up, right? For example, Voltas का मैंने काफी बात करी थी. It has already given massive run up in the last 6, 7, 8 months. Also, please note that private spending is going to pick up in the Indian economy. Private consumption is picking up in the Indian economy as of now. So over the next 1 to 2 years, that's a better bet to take, right? So this is what I would say. I'm just showing you all the data. Now let me speak about one core infrastructure company. For example, जैसे वेदांता के बारे में अगर आप बात करो, बहुत स्टॉक चल रहा है and वेदांता ओनर इज डूइंग मैसिव PR कैसे कि भाई दुनिया भर के यूट्यूबर्स जाके उनको इंटरव्यू करेंगे एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ एंड वो PR बिल्डिंग होती है. प्लीज do not buy companies on PR building. That's my humble request, and I will also request a lot of YouTubers, please do not do in this type of exercise. It is not good for the eventual investors. They get swayed unnecessarily. Okay, अब मैंने वेदांता पे पूरा वीडियो बनाया था. Please go and watch it here. You will understand the details कि buyback वो कैसे करना चाहते थे, how they distributed a lot of dividends to themselves, so to say, right? So ये सारी चीज़ें मैंने explain करी हैं on this video. Please go and watch it. You will understand. It's a good case study. You will learn a lot from it. Okay, so यहाँ पे basically उसको delist करना चाहते थे एक पॉइंट इन टाइम एंड यू नो द एफर्ट फेल एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ. तो अभी मैसिव PR बिल्डिंग चल रही है. इट्स अ मैसिवली लेवरेज्ड कंपनी, राइट? इनकी अदानी जी से भी ज़्यादा डेट है. ओके, सो दिस इज वेयर वी आर. इट्स इनटू माइनिंग बिजनेस. इट्स अ एक्सट्रीमली ट्रेडिशनल बिजनेस. अब भाई गवर्नमेंट चेंज हो गई, नहीं दिया उन्होंने अदानी को, बोलो फिर व्हाट विल यू डू? द कंपनी विल गो बॉन्कर्स. ओके, दे विल टेक सो मच लॉस कहेंगे. थोड़े बहुत कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स भी शिफ्ट करा दिए गए. These are extremely explosive businesses. If the political dealings do not go their way, on such high debt, they are going to have massive problems. Okay, so please be mindful about investing in these type of companies. Yes, it looks beautiful that you have invested 100 rupees and in a few weeks it becomes 300 rupees, right? But you have just gambled. That is not called as investing. There is a difference between investing and gambling. आप बोलोगे नहीं मुझे तो करना है, right? What should I do? Okay, and is there a lower risk way of doing it? 100% yes. There is a lower risk way of investing in these type of companies. It is called as Nifty 50 investing. Look, देखो, this is like the Nifty 50 chart. I had already drawn the channel. Okay, so यहाँ पे ये रहा channel. Okay, and basically अब होगा क्या? And let me just remove it. It will make more sense. See, this is the channel in which Nifty 50 is trading. Okay, Nifty 50 होता क्या है? Nifty 50 is the collection of top 50 stocks in India, right? Now इसमें अदानी stocks भी आते हैं. Now, if let's say that you are not directly buying Adani stocks, you are buying it in a suitcase manner or a portfolio manner, then you can simply consider buying Nifty 50 index. Now, Modiji जीत गए, okay, and what is likely to happen? See, now this thing will be broken. This is called as resistance barrier. It will be broken, and let's say that in like 6 odd months, 7 odd months, we are somewhere here. So, आपका तो profit हो गया ना, from like 23K, you have gotten to 26K. Okay, अब आप बोलोगे कि यार okay, fine. Yeah, I made like whatever 10% profits here, okay, on Nifty 50. But if I would have invested in Adani stocks, I would have made let's say 50% run up. तो यार यहाँ पे तो मेरा ऐसा कोई खास फायदा हुआ नहीं. In like 6 months only 10%, and Adani stocks I made like 50%. So why should I not invest here? Well, because you are taking much higher risk. Now when you take much higher risk, it is much more difficult to make big ticket investments. Now what is the meaning of big ticket investments? भाई अगर मैं आपसे बोलूँ कि you have like 1 crore rupee, okay, can you invest let's say 80 lakhs in Nifty 50? You probably can, okay, and you make let's say 10% returns. How much returns you are making? You are making 8 lakh returns. Now if you have 1 crore, now if I ask you can you invest 80 lakhs in Adani stocks, अब भाई गैम्बलिंग हो जाएगी बहुत बड़ी. You will say yes, no, but majority of the people say no boss, I mean this is like one stock, so much risk, I don't know. Yes, maybe 50% run up, but there is also a chance that it can go down by like 30-40%. So rather than investing 80 lakhs, I'll only invest like 10 lakhs, okay. So now आपका 50% run up हो भी गया, okay. On this, how much money did you make? Then you made 5 lakhs. So अगर आपको मोटा पैसा कमाना है safely, then what is it that you can do? You can simply invest in Nifty 50. अब आप बोलोगे कि Nifty 50 can also correct by like 30%, 40%. Yes, it can, but look at the history. Okay, so look at the entire history of Nifty 50. Nifty 50 is the collection of top 50 companies in India. You're not getting exposure just across one asset. Therefore, you can buy really big, do it safely. This is a much better way of investing in Adani type of stocks where you're not taking direct exposure to it. And here the trick is, and this is where what people miss, that if you are seeing कि देखो यार, you know, election rally will happen, Modi magic is going to play out, then invest big. Okay, that's a simple point. It's much better to invest like 80 lakh capital and make an absolute profit of 8 lakh. This is what people do not tell you, rather than just simply looking at the return on capital. For making this return on capital, you are taking much higher risk also. ये अगर आप लॉजिकली सोचो, इफ यू आर जस्ट ट्राइंग टू कैप्चर 10% गेन in 6 months, that's approximately 20% gain in a year. Now that is a very good return on your big capital. It makes no sense कि आप 10,000 रुपए का जुआ खेल लो, आपके पास 1 crore रुपये है, you're just investing like 10,000 in like one individual stock. This is part 1. Part 2 is कि भाई आप है ना worst case scenario expect करो. Okay, so what is the worst case scenario that will happen on Nifty 50? I would say that see, it will go sideways. या थोड़ा सा गिर जाएगा, राइट, मे बी लाइक 10% करेक्शन आ जाएगी, आप लुट गए, बर्बाद हो गए, राइट. बट 10% करेक्शन ऑन Nifty 50. शॉर्ट आंसर इज नो, यू कैन कंटिन्यू टू होल्ड योर पोजीशन. नाउ आंसर very honestly that if a 20% correction comes on Adani stocks, and if for example Modiji does not come to power, or he comes with less power, all that stuff, what will you do with Adani stocks? Will you book your 20% loss and go away? Most of you would not. Most of you would say कि यार थोड़ा सा वेट कर लेते हैं, शायद ऊपर आ जाएगा. तब भाई साहब वो 20% loss converts into 30, 35, 40% loss. Then it converts to 40% loss, and then you will panic. Okay, there is a very high chance of panic to make this 5 lakh versus there is almost zero panic if you understand fundamentals on this, where you are actually making 8 lakhs. Doing big ticket sensible investing is a much better strategy rather than doing all this, you know, jhamelebazi. I am 100% okay missing the Adani rally. ऐसा तो है नहीं कि only Adani stocks will go up and rest of the stocks will not go up. I will still make very good money. I had missed the last Adani rally also. I am 100% okay missing all the Adani rallies. Why? Because I do big ticket investing. आप यहाँ पे देखना, I had done a very big swing trade. I recently am doing a lot of swing trades in the market. I reveal all this information on my member community also. Do definitely check it out. I will give you a lot of fundamental commentary. But anyways, I really hope that this video helped you out in some manner. It would allow you to reshape your portfolio, rethink of a lot of strategies. My job is to help you think your conventional thought process and make you a better investor. That is the spirit with which I am teaching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do press the like button, subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you soon.